Good evening, YouTube viewers and subscribers. Yes, I do have an engine under this dirty, nasty rag. But before I show it to you, I want to babble a little bit here. Those of you that buy a lot of used engines, hi Chloe, realize the risk. And those that don't realize the risk need to realize the risk. Sometimes you're going to get good ones. Sometimes you're going to get stinkers. What I've got under here, in my opinion, looked to be like it would have been a good engine, but I really believe it to be a stinker. So I'm not real happy about it. I started kind of going ahead and looking at it and taking the head screws out because they were all rusty, and then I figured, well, I better put the camera on this and capture it. What I've got here, at one time, was a really nice engine. It was an HP 61 Gold Cup. It no longer is a nice engine. Let me zoom in and show you. Wrong way. So I just bought this off of an internet forum, and the pictures that were in the ad were extremely small. You couldn't zoom in, you really couldn't look at them. But this engine has definitely had a better life. There's extra holes drilled in the lugs. The gold coating on this head is really screwed up. And if you notice, I've only got two heads in, or two screws in here. The screw heads in this were so discolored from rust or something that I just took them all out and I threw them in a shot glass with some 3-in-1 oil just to oil them up. So I kind of put these two back in real quick because I went to rotate it with the screws out and it popped the head off. So there is compression. Let me do that first. Listen. It does have compression, and if I can zoom in just a hair more maybe, you'll see that there's some carbon residue on the side. Listen. So it does have some compression. What I was really hoping was that this was going to be a much nicer condition engine than what I received, which I didn't pay a lot for it, and I don't feel bad because I'll tell you, I paid $60 for this engine shipped. It did not come with an exhaust. Now new, and I believe Mikoa still sells these, new these are like, I don't know, 160, 180, something like that. But this one says here made in Austria, and as I mentioned in one of my HB video, I don't know if the Mikoa tooling, when they still make these engines, actually still says that, or if it says something other than that. So I don't really know if this is truly made in Austria. You'd like to think that. Now it does appear to have the stock HP carb, maybe. I mean, it says HP on the front, but yet it's got this disc like it's a pericarb, so I don't really know a whole lot about HP engines. But here's what the top of the piston looks like. Let me get it up here. Pretty dark. You can feel the layer of carbon on there. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this engine, if I'm just going to see if my OS61 FSR muffler fits on this, which I think it will, and then just try and run it, or if I should tear it down. I mean, the bearings actually feel pretty decent, and I don't really have any new gaskets for the front housing. What I think I'm going to do, I think I just decided, is that I'm going to actually try and run this thing as it is. And if the performance isn't what I would expect, or it doesn't run properly, then I'll tear it down, get some bearings, try and see if I can get some gaskets for it, and at least try and replace some of the parts that don't look so good. I mean, it came with this prop washer, but this was the nut. So I mean, it came with this, didn't come with an exhaust, which I'm pretty sure these things are sold with an exhaust. It's got some kind of serial number on here. A 9 and then
1756. I do not know what that 9 represents unless that's like the 9th run of a certain year, and this was 1756, the number of that. I don't know. Really don't know a whole lot about these engines. It's hard to find any real information on it, but this was a 60 size 2-stroke, obviously, that I have purchased to go with some of the other 60 size 2-stroke engines. So this is basically just a quick look at this engine and express a little bit of a disappointment in what I've got with this engine. So that's all I've got for this engine for now anyway. Okay, I put the head screws back in, and I decided just for the heck of it I'm going to sacrifice this back gasket and see if I can get this back cover off, because I'm very curious about what the inside of this engine looks like. Now, I did liberally put some 3-in-1 oil in on top of the piston and down the barrel here to try and get some lube in those front bearings. I'm not sure if this is going to want to just come off or not. I'm going to drop these in my oil. Yeah, okay. Okay, so first of all, the gasket appears like it will survive, sort of. I don't want to mess with it too much. And I can smell the 3-in-1 oil on there, so it's already moved through there. So here's what the inside looks like. It actually looks like it's got fresh bearings in it.
Looks like somebody might have actually replaced the bearings in this engine.
So this might have just had a freshen up now. It's always, yeah, I can see quite a bit of the oil that I just put in there. It's always a thing that I do. If I'm going to refresh the bearings on an engine, and it's got really nice compression now. If I refresh the bearings on an engine, I always go that extra, oops, wrong way. I always go that extra step and disassemble all the parts and clean everything. Now, I know that a lot of people don't have the means or the knowledge, maybe, I don't know that it takes a lot of knowledge, but the means to necessarily clean all the parts up like I like to do. But it does look like this has got fresh bearings, which would explain why they feel so smooth. Now if I can get this back cover back on without screwing up what's already a very rough looking gasket, we'll be in good shape. So next I'm going to see if my OS FSR muffler fits on this, which I think it does. The bad thing is I was actually thinking about investing the $40 in a muffler for this that's black from Mikoa, but I don't want to put another $40 into this engine when the muffler would look infinitely better than the engine itself anyway at this point. So it will just share a muffler, or I can try and source another muffler that'll fit it that's less expensive. So anyway,